Experiencing Neopagan traditions in Lithuania. This is a wild video title. I'm extremely curious about it though. I'm pretty knowledgeable on paganism and most religions for that matter, so Lithuania apparently is experiencing a lot of Neopagan traditions. Let's see what we got for this one. Coming from Lithuania Explained. Shout out to Lithuania. It's been a while since we've done one on the channel. I'm here for it. Smash the like button. Let's dive in.
Here's 5 things I learned as a foreigner living in Lithuania in April 2026. Or penke dalykai, kurios šiandienieši išmokau Lietuvoje.
Nice.
Number 1. Lithuania is leading the way for tech in Europe. In fact, it's number 1 according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, which is this official think tank. But that Europe-winning mentality actually goes back way, way, way further. Back in the 1300s, Lithuania was the biggest pagan empire in Europe. And I know some people will immediately say 1400s, but it converted to Christianity officially around 1387. So arguably, after that point, no longer pagan. So, 1300s, biggest pagan empire in Europe. It was around 800,000 square kilometers.
Damn.
That's 3 times the size of the UK, bigger than France and Germany combined, and it was twice the size of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. And despite the conversion and everything that's happened since then, these ancient beliefs still continue and arguably are growing, which I think shows not only their strength, but how integral they are to Lithuania's identity. For me, if you really want to understand the country, you need to dig deep and look far back and try to understand the connections and relationship between the people and the land, not only in terms of territory and place and borders, but also the seasons and the natural world, and how that links to the spiritual world. I think it's particularly clear around this time of year because of the changing of the seasons and the arrival of spring, which is a massive, massive deal here. In April, I went to Jore, which is a...
Look at this. Everyone gets all dressed up too? Wow.
Celebration of the old gods and beliefs. And as some people have pointed out, it's actually only 30 years old. Well, this iteration of it is 30 years old, because actually the beliefs, ideas, and the ceremonies date back thousands of years. It's a Ramuva-led event that celebrates the first greenery of spring. And even the name Jore comes from Joreti, which basically means to grow. So it's all...
This is why they put, you know, the Christian holiday of Easter on a pagan holiday, which was basically like that's where the egg comes from, right? It's a fertile time of year, you know, the spring. Interesting.
About the new growth and the new life that spring brings with it. All of the ceremonies and traditions and rituals are based on findings by historians and academics using recorded folklore, archaeological data, and linguistic clues. And these are now official ceremonies and rituals for the Neopagan Ramuva faith. There's this amazing procession to the sacred Kulionis hill fort, and then ceremonies to make offerings and honor the ancestors and the old gods. For example, salt is sprinkled on the fire to satiate Gabia, the goddess of fire and the home. And a lot of the day is dedicated to Perkunas, the god of thunder. It was said that the farmers wouldn't touch the land until the first thunder of the season, because it meant then they had the blessing of Perkunas. And after that, there's communal cooking and eating. A great reminder that these ceremonies weren't just for the gods, they were also for the people, to feel connected to the land, but also connected to each other. And maybe that's why, even after thousands of years, these beliefs and celebrations still continue on, and in fact might be getting stronger, hence leading the way in tech.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would say that like religion is down pretty much in every major country, barring some of the Middle Eastern ones. But, you know, for the most part, maybe not all religions, but like Christianity is definitely on the downturn. I think maybe the U.S. is still has kind of reversed that. I've looked at this data before, but paganism is really just like, it's super interesting to me. I have no idea. This video, this is not a topic that everyone likes, so this is just me geeking out right now.
But still embracing its ancient ways. Number 2, the Lithuanian language, while notoriously difficult and let's say a little bit complicated, does have some very interesting and fun quirks. A simple but fun one is playing around with masculine names and objects. So basically you can create nicknames for a lot of your male friends by adding uke onto the end of their names. If you're speaking to your friend Jonas, you can call him Jonuke as a sign of closeness and friendship. A bit like saying, hey Johnny. And if you're referring to him to others or speaking about him, as in not speaking directly to him, basically you can call him Jonukas, again as a sign of your closeness and your friendship. As an example, I'm Andrew or Andrus in Lithuanian, so you would say Labas Andruke, or you would say this is my friend Andrukas. And it's very cool. You can actually use it to make nicknames for objects as well, like cute nicknames for objects. So for example, I heard someone called Guinness, Guinnessukas, which is why I started researching it. If you're Lithuanian...
That's really, really interesting.
And do you have a favorite one? And number 3, April 1st is actually the birthday of this independent republic in the capital city. To enter, you have to cross this little bridge where you can even get a visa. And it's really interesting. That's basically where the name comes from. Uj, which is Lithuanian for behind or beyond, and Upe, which is Lithuanian for river. So Užupis is literally the place beyond the river from Vilnius old time. They start the birthday here with an early morning swim where they
I was going to say, they got a bunch of murals here on the wall? Interesting.
bathe the angel of Užupis. After that, there's a big parade to show solidarity and all the different communities that make up the arty little district. Then everybody gathers here in the main square for an annual photo before they go and party until the wee hours. And in the middle of all that, I met Jonas, whose dad organizes this annual card game championship, which also happens on the same day in the middle of Užupis, sort of as part of the celebrations. But the thing is, the card game, get this, is called Durnas, which is basically Lithuanian for dumbass. So I was expecting it to be kind of funny, a bit of a joke.
Yeah, we have a game called Bullshit, which not technically the same as dumbass, but it's a fun game.
The dumbass championships. But I got to tell you, it was the complete opposite. I bring it up because it was a very special evening. Like, it felt like a very special moment for me, and it was one of those very unexpected experiences. So I met his dad, and we spoke via translation. And it turns out, although it's called the Durnas or Dumbass Championships, it's actually a very poignant, special thing. So his dad was telling me that they started it as a way for people to basically come together and spend some time together during the Soviet occupation or the latter years of the Soviet occupation. So it's a fun card game, but importantly, you have to play it in pairs. So it was all about visual or quiet communication between the pairs of people. And the nod to the Soviet times continued because the winner gets this white certificate and some silly little health tests to basically be certified as a dumbass, which they should then be able to use to get time off work. And I just wanted to share that because I think in terms of explaining or understanding Lithuania, it's often actually these very small moments and small insights that really help you. Like, we ended up, so after all the celebrations for Independence Day, we just ended up in a small, grimy, very cool little bar with these guys all playing cards in pairs. And it might seem simple or not important at first, but actually through meeting people in these little conversations, you find out that things like that are actually massive. Number 4, every April, a dinosaur charges straight down Vilnius Main Street. It's for Fiziko Diena, Physics Day, which is organized by the physics students at Vilnius University. This year was FIDI 58, FIDI from Fiziko Diena. This annual event started back in 1969, and although it's mainly about physics, the idea is that it's a bigger platform for exploring ideas and creativity and self-expression. But where does the dinosaur come in? Well, the story goes that in 1978, the chairman at the time asked one of his best students to build him something incredible and unbelievable that would show the creativity and the imagination behind the day. His student Villas then locked himself in a basement for basically 48 hours and came out with a fully animatronic, motorized dinosaur. And the story goes that the dinosaur then fell in love with a philology student. But when he tried to kiss her, he accidentally ate her. So now, every year, the physics students march to the philology department to try and make up for it. It's become this huge, incredible day of
That's so
creativity
cool.
and
What a
expression
fun
and family
thing.
and community. I interviewed some of the organizers and the people there, and everybody said community was very important, so that they feel part of something. And it seems to
Look
have
at those
been another one of
cars.
these events that kind of sprung up during Soviet oppression times as a way for people to gather and feel connected, or even show some form of resistance, which now post-Soviet times has really become a real event where people can celebrate and show their freedom and creativity. And number 5, you know spring has officially arrived in Lithuania when you see all the blossoms coming to life and bringing some color back to the cities, like in Vilnius, especially here in Bernardine Cemetery, and also the Sakura Park down near the river. It's a
Wow.
huge event in the
Oh, look at
social
those.
calendar, and it seems like everybody in Vilnius goes out for that week or two to get their photos and see the blossoms in full bloom. Now, I wanted to talk about
I love spring. Spring is such a great time of
these
year.
two sites in particular because they do have these darker, tragic undercurrents. But
Okay.
as nature and life always seems to have its own sense of story, they are balanced by the blossoms and bringing beauty and life back at this time of year. Bernardine Cemetery, for example, was founded and constructed by the Bernardine monks in 1810. The cemetery actually grew and developed because of the policies of the Tsarist authorities at the time, which basically prohibited the burying of the dead anywhere near churches. So grieving relatives moved everything up here to a hill which at the time was on the outskirts of the city. Okay, so I had a different ending, or let's say conclusion, in mind for this video. I was gonna talk about people and nature and the changing seasons and spring, but having spent the day walking around the city and having had the honor of thinking of all of these things and telling all of these stories makes me realize that I gotta end with something different. Because if we're trying to explain Lithuania, trying to analyze or understand and help other people understand the country and what it's like to be here and experience it, then we've got to look back and understand everything that's happened here and the impacts it's had on people. Not just big things, but also small things, just little everyday experiences. So let's just take the 5 things I've talked about today. Number 1 was that it used to be the biggest pagan empire in Europe.
That's crazy that I've never really known that it was the biggest pagan empire in Europe. I don't know how that fact snuck past me.
A strong, proud, unique nation with its own belief system, its own values, its own identity, that then had to give a lot of that away to be assimilated into Christendom and to join the rest of Europe. And number 2, the language. It's always been under attack. There were Russian policies in the 1900s to specifically try and destroy the Lithuanian language. Number 3, the Arty Republic of Užupis. It was founded in the 1990s when people were celebrating the fact that Lithuania had just got its independence back from the Soviets. Jonas's dad and the beautiful card game Durnas. It was created as an antidote to Soviet policies because it was difficult for people to talk to each other. Physics Day. It was founded in the 60s and 70s during life under the Soviet Union, under oppression, as a way for students to express themselves and feel some kind of community. And number 5, a beautiful historic graveyard on top of a hill overlooking the city, but it's there because the Russian government at the time wouldn't let grieving families bury their loved ones near churches. Now, all of those things are to try and help you understand modern Lithuania in 2 specific ways. Number 1 is understanding that constant presence and danger of the invaders or the occupiers. It goes way back, but especially from World War II up until 1990. Imagine everyday life under the Soviet Union. You're part of the USSR. Your life is under constant surveillance, constant oppression, deportations, friends, family are disappearing, people are being taken away. And number 2, the fact that Lithuania endures. Through all of that, there has been quiet strength and resistance. If you look at those things, everyone has held together, everyone has found a way, and the place has endured. So imagine how it felt to finally get your independence back in 1990, to finally become your own country again, to break free and to chart your own course. And maybe that's why modern Lithuania is a proud pioneering nation. Number one in Europe, leading the way in tech, embracing all of its traditions and history and folklore from before all of these things ever happened, protecting its own language, even with state law. It's embracing all of the things that make it Lithuania. It's rediscovering its identity. It's reclaiming its identity after all these years. And I gotta tell you, it's a very special place to be. And that's why I love doing these 5 things I learned videos. You know, I understand sometimes it might seem simple or light, but it's about what's going on behind the scenes. What messages is it carrying? What do these things show underneath? I hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah, man, he did. Andrew did a fantastic job explaining a little bit of Lithuania and its history and kind of everything that he just went over right there. I'm not going to go over it all over again, but this was a lot different than some of the other type of videos I do when I discover a country and I'm trying to learn about its culture. Some of them just show me like beautiful places and landscapes and buildings, and that's always really cool. I like those a lot, but I like it when people dig a little bit deeper into the culture and the whole reason that the people are the way that they are inside of that country. It's just, yeah, chef's kiss. All right, we're getting out of here. Thank you for the recommendation, you guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.